Hi, I'm John McLemore with Masterbuilt, and welcome to Dadgum That's Good. Today, it's all about ribs. Okay, as I said, it's all about ribs, and today it's baby back ribs with some barbecue sauce, and it's from the pages of my cookbook, Dadgum That's Good too. And the first thing you want to do is get your ribs ready by taking the membrane off the back of these ribs. Now here's a great little tip. Take your paper towel to get a hold of that membrane to be able to pull it off of those ribs. And what that does, it allows that barbecue sauce and those spices to get into that meat. If you've never heard of Jane's Crazy Salt, it is a great seasoning. And we're gonna put that all over the back side of our ribs and the front. And we're then gonna put on some lime pepper. If you can't find either of those, use your own favorite seasonal in place of the Jane's Crazy Salt, and in place of the lime pepper, just use lemon pepper. Now that our ribs are seasoned, let's talk about the smoker. The first thing you want to do is get it ready. Align your water bowl with aluminum foil and fill it about halfway with whatever your favorite liquid is. Today we're using apple cider vinegar. Then the drip pan, line it with aluminum foil. Always remember, punch that hole in the bottom to get rid of any of those liquids down into the drip tray. The reason we do this is to make cleanup a lot easier. Now we're going to set the temperature at 225 degrees. Now this is a 4.5-hour recipe, but we're going to set it for 5 hours because it takes about 30 minutes to preheat the smoker. Then we add in our favorite wood chips. Today with this recipe, we're using apple wood. It gives it a great little punch of flavor, but you can use whatever your favorite wood chips are. Now our ribs are ready to go into the smoker. We're going to add them to the smoker rack and put them on the middle part of the smoker. Starting to get a little bit of smoke coming out. Now it's been 2 hours since we've had our ribs on, and we're infusing a lot of great smoke. And the way we do that is about an hour into this process, I added a little bit more wood chips. So that's twice that we've added some wood. Once we wrap these ribs, no more smoke because we've got them in the aluminum foil. Now we're gonna go in, you see all that smoke billowing out of there? Recommend throw on some heat resistant gloves when you're going into the smoker to get those ribs off. And they are looking really good. Now we're gonna wrap them in a couple of sheets of heavy duty aluminum foil. What that does is that'll give these ribs a nice, tender, juicy result. Now always remember, close your smoker door while you're wrapping your ribs so that you can hold that temperature in. Put them back on the same rack, close her up. Now during this process, no need to add any more wood chips because we've got them wrapped and they're already infused with that great smoky flavor. So now, let's make some barbecue sauce. First ingredient, 2 cups of ketchup. And 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. And 3 dry ingredients. First, 1 teaspoon of onion powder and 1 teaspoon of garlic pepper. And then the last dry ingredient is 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And you want to simmer that over a low heat for 10 to 15 minutes. Now let's talk about the process of what we're doing with our ribs today. Do I wrap or do I not wrap my ribs? Everybody's different, from competition cook-offs to people cooking in their backyard. It depends on what you want your ribs to come out like. If you want them to fall off the bone, then wrap your ribs. If you want to have that texture to where you've got to bite it off that rib, then you don't want to wrap your ribs. I personally like a nice, juicy, fall off the bone rib. That's why we wrap today. Step 3 of our 3-step process, basting the ribs with this homemade barbecue sauce, my favorite part. Now, we're 4 hours into these ribs. 2 hours unwrapped, getting that smoky flavor. 2 hours, whoo! That apple cider vinegar will take your breath And now, just unwrap these babies and add that barbecue sauce and put it directly back onto the smoker rack to caramelize that barbecue sauce to these ribs. And you want to baste these ribs. I'm just going to pour it right over the top. Don't be shy with your barbecue sauce. Put as much on there as you want for flavor. The cool thing about this recipe is if you want a dry rib with the spices that we put on these ribs, it's actually a great flavor. And if you want to add the barbecue sauce to it like we're doing here, it even adds more flavor. Smoker is still set at 225 degrees. Slide that rack out, put it right back onto the center rack, directly onto the smoker rack, which you're going to caramelize on both sides of that rib. Give it a close. While our ribs are smoking, I want to point out 3 great features about the Masterbuilt electric smokehouse. Number 1, the remote control, a handy device that allows you to check the internal temperature or anything about that recipe from the convenience of inside your house. Number 2, the meat probe. We're not using it on the ribs because it's a thin recipe and got so many bones in there, but great for chickens, Boston butts, hams, or turkeys. And number 3, you've got the light. Not using it on a sunny day today, but a nice feature when it's dark outside and you need to check out some dadgum good recipes. All right, I got a confession to make, folks. I told you that my favorite part was basting the ribs. Well, that's not exactly true, because this is my favorite part. It's taking the ribs off of that smoker after you've had them on for a good 4.5 hours, and they turn out like this, just about to break apart. And that barbecue sauce is caramelized, it's smoke infused, and it is dadgum good, I promise you. For baby back ribs and some barbecue sauce, this recipe from the pages of my cookbook is a recipe you are going to want to try. Let's eat.